should and could be growing your business a lot faster, more elegantly, more smoothly by utilizing live events. Now, let me give you the 30-second story of myself, and I'm going to tell you why right now in 2025, heading into the summer and quickly heading into, I'm going to say 2026, but we're going to be in fall before we even know it, that the live event space is heating up. My name is Ed O'Keefe. I cut my chops in my first successful business that did anything worth sort of talking about was in the coaching business in dentistry. So when I was 25, 26, maybe more like 27, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I licensed the rights to sell a business in the box system by the mentors I had at the time. And I just jumped into dentistry. Now, the reason I share that is it's very important to understand this. I didn't really know what I was doing, number one. Number two is I knew I loved helping people. I knew I loved direct response marketing. I knew I could do this and I knew I could follow a path and plan because I had mentors that were kind of leading me on my path, right? And that's very, very important to understand is that certainty and confidence comes from, oh, I have a path and plan to follow. That's important for yourself, and that's also super important for your ideal dream client. Okay. And so when we started making sales in that business, the fastest, so this is worth writing down, the fastest way to ascend and move people up to join if you have a mastermind. Today we're going to be talking about mastermind coaching clubs and hybrid offers. Hybrid might be high ticket consulting with a mastermind, high ticket consulting with your agency, high ticket, insert the underlying thing, licensing with a mastermind. I've sold them all, and the framework I'm going to teach today will help you elegantly set yourself up so that that happens naturally. Now, I didn't know how to do any of the things I'm about to show you before I learned them. So if you're sitting there and you're like, "Hey Ed, I'm not good on stage. I don't feel like I'm good at selling. I don't want to be salesy. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be doing any of those things." These are all the things holding you back from impacting more people and getting people to invest more in themselves with you. These are the core things I didn't have, but what I had was a naiveness and a belief that frankly that the path and the doorways were going to open up for me the more action I took, and they had and they have. So one of the first things we did, and when I say we, it was really me learning from mentors, but it was my business, right? And so one of the first things I did was I started holding these like little fast start days. And the fast start days are easily the best way from an in-person perspective. Now, someone can argue, like if you're studying from any of their experts out there, like, hey, we just grow our mastermind by driving people to a lead form and then doing a phone call. We drive our mastermind by doing YouTube videos, generating leads, and then putting them on a phone call or a Word document. Um, those all work. Okay, so we're not even going to really talk about those models because they do work. But so today specifically, we're talking about how to orchestrate an event because that's one of my core unique abilities, and it's very specific, and it also is done in a very specific way. Okay, so the reason I share that with you is because what I found was I was taking these low ticket buyers, medium ticket buyers, whatever you want to judge like back then, and I would invite them to a 1 day event. And the greatest thing about it was very, very quickly, those people, after experiencing 3, 4, 5, 6 hours with myself, and the focus was on getting them results as quickly as humanly possible, naturally, their next question is, how do we do more of that? Right. And then that led me into launching my mastermind. Okay. So, um, what I have to share with you is I didn't really know the best way to structure the offer. I didn't really know the best way to do some of those things. But the reason why that's super important for you to feel good about is the reason why that's super important for you to feel good about is that you're going to experience what you like, love, don't like, and think are amazing uh, when you start launching or doing these little micro events and grow them into bigger events, right? And some people on this training may already have big events, right? So what I discovered really quickly was I put 10 people in a room. They were paying me, I think, 1,200 bucks a month. I thought I was rich beyond rich, but it was exciting because we were gaining traction. Okay. That was the start. And when I noticed that, I was able to start doing the math that by the time someone purchased something from me, then came to a live event and they got to experience myself, you're going to experience the same thing. If I'm selling a service, they stick longer. If I'm selling, if I have a service and I'm not, and they haven't purchased yet, they buy. If they are skeptical or what we call cats, meaning cats are like animals that like to roam around. You guys understand that, right? If they're cats, then they want to get to know you first before they upgrade. Those were all positive things. And then like dogs, we say dogs, like this is all advanced learning stuff where dogs are people that want to come up to you, be liked, loved, and whatever. They're people that jump into these things very, very rapidly. Okay. So that was kind of my backstory. Now, we went for about, I think, 13 years before I sold that company where we were running many, many events, like every quarter and multiple big conferences a year. And the main focus was get as many people in the room, create an amazing experience, and then give them an opportunity to buy. And that is the business if you want to build a strong community that I'm just trying to see. I want to stop sharing my screen for one. There we are. If that's what you want to do. Okay. Now, I want to see, do you guys see my notes here? Can you guys see my screen? Tom, do you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yeah,
No.
Google
I,
Doc.
you can see my Google Doc. Okay, cool. So let me
Yep.
bang through these a little bit because this will keep us on track. But then I'll give you guys a small or a copy of this as well. The where I think the greatest opportunity right now is that you're seeing that people want to be back in person. Okay, I'm kind of skipping to here, but I'll come back to a couple other things. You're seeing that people want to be back in person, and I also believe that AI is actually accelerating the rate at which live events are becoming more important for you to have the ability of getting building that relationship faster. Okay, so that's the other thing. The other thing I want to share with you was I already went over why this is the best place to go through it. Um, and when I saw that this was the biggest opportunity within my dental coaching business, I went out and hired a guy. His name was Tim Paulson. Now, Tim was a guy to share his like quick little backstory. Tim was a guy that was in the hair care space for many, many years. Now, what Tim did is he worked with Joe Polish. Do any of you guys know who Joe Polish is by chance?
Yep.
Joe was a guy that was in the carpet cleaning space, right? And so in the carpet cleaning space, you have people that were not making a lot of money. You had HVAC guys, you had plumbers, you had all these different types of people. And then Tim Paulson came alongside Joe because Joe did not like selling on stage. This is very, very important to understand and write down. Joe cared about helping people. But he wasn't good at selling people. And Tim was the orchestrator of it. And I saw how they generated $1 million. Maybe it was like, I think it was like 1.2 million from a bunch of carpet cleaners, HVAC guys, and plumbers. They had the stampede of a big rush to the back of the room. And I decided right there when I only had 10 guys in my mastermind and I wanted to have 120 guys in my mastermind in my licensing programs, that I was going to hire Tim Paulson. So I did. And this is what I did. I spent $50,000. He met with my team. He orchestrated my entire event. Now, this is a key note that I want to share. I didn't know there was such a thing as orchestrating an event. Like I didn't really know there was such a thing. I thought you're supposed to just get your biggest keynote speakers, like everybody. This is how everybody does it, by the way. You get your biggest keynote speakers. You get your Gary V's, you get your whomever, you Majigs, whatever. You get all the big names. They come on your stage. Those dog and pony shows are supposed to attract your buyers. Here's what you're going to find. This is worth writing down. Your best buyers do not want to come see Gary V. I love Gary Vee, by the way. I'm not crapping on Gary Vee. Your best buyers do not want to see Gary Vee. So you spend 50,000, 80,000, 120,000 bringing in the latest best-selling author that's on Amazon, and you think that's going to bring people in. Let me just tell you this. If they are coming to see Gary Vee, they're coming for all the wrong reasons. Gary Vee's pretty we can I'll get to Gary Vee in a second. But if you bring in all these like famous people and you're like, "Oh, it's so amazing." That's the wrong buyer. We want to attract, and this is worth writing down right now, your level 10 buyer who we love working with, that's enjoyable to work with, easy to help. And I'll go a little bit deeper on easy to help in a second. And they have the money to spend with us, and it's easy to sell them if they see the opportunity. We, we want those people We want those people in your audience. And the reason is that if you ended up having 500 people and 300 of them are not really your buyers for the right reason, they're there for the different things, it's just not going to flow like you normally do. So what I like saying to you is, so that was Tim Paulson's story. So I'll come back full circle on Tim. We had our best record sales after working with Tim. He came and he did three things for me. You know what they were? Or would it be okay that I share it with you? Or are you opposed for me to share them with you? That's probably the better question, as Chris Voss would say. Um,
Yeah.
Tim Paulson did a talk on day one. All right. And this is what we call the first talk fixer. Okay. This is one of the things that we do for people. Is his first talk, it was actually not the first talk. I'll tell you about my first talk, but he did a talk that pretty much told the whole room they need to buy my mastermind without saying it. And the reason why that works so incredibly well is that if I'm selling, like I see we have my friends from Staffy on here who sell VA services, amazing stuff, right? I see I got my guy Tom on here who's a high-end consultant that helps nine-figure businesses sell more, right? I got my guy Michael on here who Michael's in the pharmaceutical industry, right? It is 1,000 times easier for somebody else to sit there and tell the audience why they need to buy your services than it is for you to do it. Okay. That is part of the orchestration. The key point here is this: it's even more powerful when the audience has no clue that they're being sold way before they're going to be sold. Okay. And that is what Tim did for me. He pretty much came in here, and this is what we do. It's part of our services here at Offer Wingman. But he pretty much came in there and told them all the elements of a powerful sales or a powerful goal crushing individual. A powerful goal crushing individual. What are the elements of that person? What are they, guys? Right? You don't have to say them out loud. But you can type in the chat. It's like, okay, they have a mentor. They have a model that they follow. They have a community that makes them better. There's so many stories, and I'm going to go over some of them here in a moment. Um, they have people that hold them accountable. They have, it's like the question is everybody gets more done like the week before the next mastermind than the previous 90 days. Why? Because of positive peer pressure, right? So these are all the benefits and bullets that we use when we're selling a mastermind, a coaching club, or a reason to be a part of a tribe, right? And if I wait till my sales pitch on day two or day four to try and convince people that is the only time I do that, I'm going to come across pushy, salesy, and it's going to land on hardened ears, meaning this is the first time they're hearing it, they're less likely to buy. You cause more friction, right? Whereas when we orchestrate, and this goes to this point here, let me bring back up my little cool Google Doc. When we orchestrate our event with these questions in mind first, let me come down all the way here. I'll come back up to that. If we first say, what is our core offer that we want people to be excited, naturally inclined to buy, that they start coming up to us by lunch on day one, asking us how they purchase. If we first ask ourselves that question, it immediately shifts your focus on now how you build out your 2-day event, your 3-day event, or your 4-day event. And this is virtual and in person, folks, just so you know. And what I mean by that is if I'm running a 3-hour workshop, I'm still going to ask this question first. Okay. This works if you're running a mastermind, okay, a live in person one. This works if you're running an agency or you're selling a SaaS, or if your purpose of the event is to get them to stick. It's all same stuff, right? This the last part, the last couple one here I just want to hit up is like licensing. Live events work with this. High ticket, let me put this in here for you, Tom. High ticket
Thank you.
executive consulting and coaching. And then any hybrid of this, right? So when we were in dentistry, just to kind of explain what hybrid means, guys. Hybrid means that, so I was selling, so this is actually a pretty positive breakthrough I'll share with the group. So when I got into dentistry, I didn't know anything about it. I licensed products. I was scrambling. I was learning rapidly, getting better, getting feedback from clients, getting better, right? What I found was that my best testimonials, and this is always where I tell people to look at when I work with people on crafting their offer. I always ask this question. I say, who's your best testimonial? Who's the easiest to work with? Happy to pay? Um, you know, if you had 100 more of them, you'd have a dream business, right? Well, I got a testimonial one day that came back, and this is, by the way, the same thing we did in my supplement company. I looked at the path that was coming back to me. And for me, it was one day I had a testimonial where the guy was like, "Hey Ed, thanks so much. I ran your $300 ad, and we generated 83,000, $723 in production last month just from this little ad. And um, the best part is, I have 300 or 400 more leads. I don't want to say the number 300 so many times, but you get my point, right? And that was my like, bam, I had one testimonial. Can I go get 100 more of these people? That's all I need. That's all I needed. And for some of you, it might be 1,000, it might be 10,000, right? And for some of you, it might be 10, right? So that's where my thinking went. And um, I then I took my implant ad. I had one ad, guys, that worked. All the rest, I don't know if they worked or not. And I built an entire licensing program out of it where I was charging 15,000 up front and then 1,500 a month. And we weren't even doing any services for them other than providing them the marketing materials that they can repurpose and use. And we got up to about 120 of those guys. And then 2008 hit with the market crash. And dentistry wasn't like some guys lost their entire businesses in the mortgage and real estate industry like overnight. But in dentistry, it took a little bit longer. It was probably like a 6 month or 12-month lag, right? And so anyhow, so you could sell licensing and hybrid it, right? That way as well. It works perfectly. Did I lose my camera or you guys still see me here? Um, the so whatever you might do there, whether it's consulting or hybrid, like that's why I love that we have services on here because everything I'm talking about applies to it. Okay. Let's keep cranking along on my I can get off on tangents, so bear with me a little bit. Um, but who's my level 10 client that's easy, lucrative, and fun? Now let me scroll back up here, right? Because these are some of the false agreements many of you guys possibly have. I don't like telling you what agreements you have, but these are what I see when guys are talking about running live events or selling more of their stuff. I'm not good on stage. Guess what? Almost 99.9% of the population sucks on stage until they either have someone else do it for them or they get better at that skill. Period. End discussion. That is how it gets done, fellas. Number two is I'm not a guru, right? I'm not a guru or a mastermind guy. I'm an agency. Let me start with the guru part. Did you know that Tony Robbins has people pitch for him? Right? Did you know that Grant Cardone has people that pitch for him? So they help orchestrate their events to the T. I was talking to a guy yesterday who used to help Tony Robbins grow his events, and he told me how Tony had the whole audience raving and yelling and going crazy and so excited. And the guy, the producer of the event, said, "Get back out there. You have to finish selling. You didn't sell anything yet. That's why we're here. Well, you got to close the room, right?" And so he didn't like doing that. Okay, so guess what he did? He started having somebody else. Joseph McClendon was the guy at my event when I went to UPW. If any of you guys remember Joseph McClendon, black guy, he'd come out and close the room super, super duper hard. Eli Wild's another respected guy out there who teaches closing and stuff like that, who used to close a lot on stages with the Robins and that whole world, right? Now, here's the deal. No matter what you think, here's what I want to encourage you on. This is encouragement. Encouragement, encouragement, encouragement. You do not have to be the best at everything. You can be somebody who is the orchestrator, the curator, the leader. And what we need in our society more than ever before, and what people pay for, is leadership. With AI going crazy, who's to trust, who's not to trust? You got every single guru teaching something different. There's a million people out there spamming the world, but I'm looking at everybody on here. With the exception of my friend over at Staffy, she's young. You guys are all old. You guys are all getting older every day, right? My encouragement to you is that guess what? We are the least, and people over the age of 45 are the least content syndicated people. Meaning, if you have value to create, there's not enough people like you on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, sharing the wisdom that you've accumulated. So, what I'm sharing there to really encourage you is your audience is waiting for you to start sharing more. Okay. And that's the same belief I have about live events. Okay. The other thing I want to share with you on the live events is that if you run a software, if you run a SaaS, if you run an agency, if you do any of these things, it's the number one thing that's going to be retention and acceleration. And if you don't know where to start, don't worry about it. We'll talk about it here in a second. The other thing is there's this false belief that you need big events. I'm telling you right now, I ran an event 3 months ago. Two dentists showed up. They paid 10 grand to be in the room, right? To get the videos, the interviews, and whatever for one day. They were awesome guys. Like I loved it. My ego that used to have 500 guys in a room wanted to tell me that that wasn't a good showing. But the math showed me that you just made 20 grand net, pretty much net. Take $1,000 off the table for video crew. You got the room for $400. You visited your daughter in Tampa, paid for, and you just put $16,000 in your pocket. Plus, if I ran an agency, which we have partnerships that run agencies, or if I have other sponsors or partnerships that I'm now referring them to, there's residual income on that. Let me ask a question. How many of you would do one day events if you got paid 20 grand, but you more importantly, you found a model that you can justify spending 3 grand, 5 grand of ad budget behind or give other people? It's a
Totally.
no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Because you can take that one day and turn it into one time a month, and now you just start building out roads and a pathway to grow that. So grow small, or start small, grow big, or be big, and now just get smarter and leverage. Like the event. Um, uh, hey Lou, is it Lou or is it June? I thought you were June.
Lou.
Okay, so Lou, I apologize. There's so many people over at staffing. But like the event we were just at, there was 500 people there, right? There's like 200 vendors, 300 attendees. What percentage of that was staff, right? So his buying units, I forget how many buying units was in the thing. So let me ask everybody a question. Do you want to run an event that has 500 people where there's only 30 buying units, or do you want to run an event that has 30 buying units in a room full of 30 people? Right? Or you have 10, you multiply that across 3 events. So our ego can tell us that, look at man, Dean Graziosi and Tony had 800,000 people supposedly on their YouTube channel, like their YouTube launch. And that is really good for all of us. And I'll tell you why, because they're pouring more bodies of people that want to be uh, educators, influencers, and people like us into this space, which means there's more business for everybody. That's a super positive. Um, but you don't need to be them to impact the people in your life. So I just want to, this is all encouragement. There's a lot of poor belief systems, unresourceful belief systems that people tell themselves that hold them back. And I just want to shatter them for you. Um, Funny story. So some of my sales frameworks are from an encouraging place because I'm a coach at heart and I care about people. And while I could do the little beat up on you a little bit, but that should be like 3% of this coaching style. I was at an event recently and I was just there as an attendee. This goes to our sales points where the guy only beat up on the audience. He just beat up on them the entire time. And that is his style, right? That is his style. Does it work? Yes, it works. He does extremely well. Multiple 8-figure, 9-figure guys, supposedly, but he just beats up on people the entire time. He gets sales. What's his long-term experience with clients? Probably not amazing. You know, he's going to do very well. That's not my style. If you come and train with me, you're not going to get a guy who beats up on the audience to make sales. Because just, you know, you want to do something you're going to do for the rest of your life. You don't want to do something, right? So anyhow, back to my thing. Where do we start before the agenda? So when I look at people's events, right? So when I consult with the 500-person event that Lou was at, that a lot of amazing personal injury attorneys were at, that Ken ran. The first thing I looked at was his agenda. This is kind of boring. Like if I'm a sales guy and I'm like, Ed, I thought you were going to teach us how to sell this, but this is where we start. Because if I know your core offer, where are we leading them? And what is the agenda? Then I look at the agenda as a orchestrated flow designed to create an elegant experience where we create the belief systems that a buyer would want in order to help our best client. Okay? And which brings me to one of the strongest things. Are you guys still able to see my Word doc just so I know? Thank you. I use two screens, and for some reason, I'm not seeing my stop share button. So, and I don't want to I don't want to screw something up. So, once I know our core offer, the next question I'm going to ask is, what is every single reason why they wouldn't want to buy? And what is every reason why they're going to lie to themselves about why this is not the right choice for them? That is my first couple things, guys, because what we're going to spend the day and a half or 4 days, whatever it might be. And when I say day and a half, the outline on a typical that should be done properly is you should be pitching the mastermind if you're doing a mastermind or high ticket thing. Your full pitch on a 3-day event would happen either right before lunch on day 2 or right before the first extended break in the afternoon of day 2. That's when I would put it because it allows you to give really good content with some inspiration on day 2. And then it allows you to run a panel, which I'll get to in a moment, on day 2 that builds momentum into the sales pitch. Okay. I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but you'll get there. On day 1, I'm setting up the stage to create impact, transformation, and a brighter future for the participants. So impact, we want to teach them something that blows them away, where they're saying multiple times during that time frame, oh wow, I've never thought of that. Okay. Oh wow, like that's the transformational insight kind of a piece. It might not be new for a lot of you guys. You guys are pros. However, a lot of people skip over this and this is a big mistake. They over teach content because they assume your environment in your room already knows the transformational insight. Right? So like if I told Tom and Michael or Lou or like if we had them all there and I said, "Hey, what are we going to go over today? Like what's the first thing you're going to talk about at your event?" 9 out of 10 of you would say, "Oh, I have so much to share. This is going to be amazing." And you'd go into, here's the 15 ways to do blank. And so like for Tom, who helps 9-figure sales teams, he'd be like, here's the 15 leverage points that are going to make an extra 10 figures or 8 figures for your business. If I was talking to the VA company, like Raquel would probably go up there and be like, here's the 10 ways to work best with VAs, right? And then Michael would go up there and be like, this is how we make pharmaceutical businesses profitable. And I'd be like, oh, that's amazing. Let me see your slides. And your slides would be so freaking jam-packed with good content. You'd have such great content that there's no room for transformation. And so now what I did with Ken, who we just recently has, I was like, dude, throw out your slides. Just throw out your slides. Now, bear in mind, if you only have like 45 minutes, I'll get to that. Like, because like Raquel was on there when I saw her speak, she did a great job. She only had 45 minutes with the room. Like, if you're only doing a keynote, that's a different, we're talking about a different beast. And I'll get to that if you want me to answer questions on that. But what I told Ken is I said, hey, dude, do me a favor, throw those freaking slides away. Right? I love your 54 slides about how a practice can double, quadruple, or 10x. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to tell me about, get 3 of your best case studies that are in the room. So like if I was Raquel, I'd be going, who's our VA company that does from, you got Lou, you guys do, most of your VAs are from, all your VAs are from Latin America, correct? So it's your
Most
unique.
of them, yes.
Yeah. So that I just for speed's sake, so that's a unique selling proposition. Like, hey, we're gonna leverage your time. We're gonna do stuff that you pay high paid, like things in your law practice, we're gonna leverage it with highly trained, uh, niche specific industry, um, virtual assistants. That and then so that's like one of their potential unique selling propositions. Tom's gonna talk about how he's gonna help 9-figure companies, right? So here's the deal. So I said what she could have done is say, hey, who's using our services right now? Who you get the show of hands in the room. And then the 15 guys. Now, here's what I would do. You want to know what I would do, guys? You have to tell the people who are your favorite clients that you're going to ask them to raise their hand. Hey, Tom, are you going to be in the room when I'm doing my talk, my first talk? Yeah. Can I ask you a question? How did you find out about my mastermind group? Like this is before the event even starts. Well, Ed, remember I was struggling with XYZ and then you showed me blank, 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 and here's my end result. Tom, can you do me a favor? I'm gonna ask, I'm gonna highlight you in the room. Okay. Would you be okay sharing 3 minutes of our relationship and our experience? Okay. I'm gonna do that. I told Ken, get 3 to 4 guys, personal injury attorneys that are successful because of his mastermind. Throw your slides away. Maybe show them a picture with their family, driving their car, sell the lifestyle. And then I want to have that on there, right? So again, do you guys notice the theme here? Core offer, who's my level 10 client based on a testimonial that I've already helped? Tony Robbins keeps telling the story of the guy he helped make, save 10 figures or 8 figures from 30 years ago, fellas. When I listened to Tony speak last week on the virtual thing, he did a great job. So Tony, if you're listening, you're doing a great job. Keep paving the way, brother. He tells the same stories from 30 years ago. Yet we, including myself, like to negate what we've done in the past because it wasn't yesterday. That's our brain lying to us, saying that we're not valuable anymore. Fact of the matter is that what worked 20 years ago, in 99% of the cases, will still work today. You can go in some niches like dentistry and PI and other ones, radio, infomercials. They're all working. It worked. That was the only mediums 20 years ago. So so anyhow, I digress a little bit. So this is how the first talk works at your event. I have a list of all my objections. These are all my objections I go through. When I run a live event trying to sell a mastermind, I want them to believe a couple things. They need a mentor. So I need case studies and examples of where a mentor has transformed people's lives in the room. Okay, so I have my four case studies. So that's a little bit of your homework. You could do this guys, please, you could do this on a free live Facebook thing today, right? You could go live with it. Let me tell you a story about a client I that had these problems. That's how you start it. Now, the second thing is what I told Ken's a great guy. I said, Ken, can you do me a favor? Tell me about the time you realized you need a mentor. And we went back 20 years when he was dead broke, struggling as a head of his practice. What was he experiencing? He felt lost, alone, confused, struggling, working too hard, whatever it was. I don't want to put more of his story in. But I could tell you my story. I was lonely, depressed, but I had a dream, and I stumbled across a book. And the book told me that I could leapfrog to the top of any industry. It was called Winning Through Intimidation by Robert Ringer. And then I heard Earl Nightingale, and Earl Nightingale said, you got to find a mentor. And I was like, okay, what's a mentor? I got to go find, I never heard about it before. And then I found my first mentor. And that first mentor told me this secret. He said, if you learn this one thing, it'll transform your life. And I was able to double, triple my practice or grow my business from that point on. And that's how you then set the tone. And guess what I bring up, guys? Guess what I bring up? I bring up, going back to my objection list, money. Okay. I bring up money. Oh, but I thought masterminds and mentors or hiring a VA service is expensive. All right. Or hiring an executive coach is expensive. What no one asked me was the 6 years that I was floundering on my own, how much it cost me to not have that mentor. My goals were to make $1 million. I was making $100,000. So every year of not having the mentor, I was losing $900,000. Multiply that by 6. What's that price point? $4.2 million in lost opportunity because I decided to be a lone wolf trying to do it on my own. Okay, so now those are the slides. That's a slide I would give like Ken. This is what you do. Here's a picture of the lone wolf. Here's the pack. And then you got to say this. And when winter happens, the lone wolf dies while the pack survives. Do you have a pack? Do you have a pack? Now this is 30 hours before we're going to sell them on a mastermind or of something, right? Now, Lou, check this out, right? So I'm just kind of demoing things, guys, because I like all of you and you were kind enough to show up here. So if you guys have, we only have 25 minutes left, but if you have something, I just kind of demoing like how this works, even if you're not doing a mastermind. So now here's my thing. What I found is we struggled. And then every single guy, where's Michael at? Michael, here's the microphone. Do you mind sharing what your practice looked like before you started working with us at Staffy? And then you shut up because it's already set up. Now, what Michael's going to say is, yeah, you know what we did? I hired these overpaid American, picking on our own people. We had these overpaid, and then you take all the issues we're having with hiring nowadays, whether it's with the Gen Z or they're entitled, they come out of college, they're expecting 70,000 a year. And I felt like I was putting out fire after fire. And then one day I saw this thing come across my radar, or maybe I saw him at an event, and I took the leap of faith. I'd never hired a VA before. I was afraid of it. I was nervous. I was whatever. Now look at this. He's eradicating all the objections, guys, on my behalf. Okay. And then, so for $2,500 a month up to $3,500 a month, I have somebody that's a world class, they're college educated, they speak good English, they could do all this stuff, blah, 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 and they can manage people. So my vision and dream is now as we scale, I got 10 people managed by VAs or 4 VAs by VAs, to steal, like, I think Trump's saying, like, for America, by America. I don't know if that's even true. By the way, I make a lot of jokes, guys. If they're bad jokes, just laugh because my sense of humor gets better as your ability to listen faster accelerates. Okay, so these are a couple of the other things, reputation and identity. Now, the reputation part is super vital and identity super vital. So by doing this framework, obviously there's a little more to this, but this is it. Like you could do this, right? By me highlighting a successful 7-figure or 8-figure, or whatever it might be for you, it could be a high 6-figure client. The revenue numbers are just numbers. By me giving the microphone to Tom, and Tom tells his story about before Ed's mastermind, we were doing X. Now, 2 years later, we're doing 10X that. Everybody's eyes in the room are looking at Tom with admiration. So all the people who are not in your group, unconsciously, we just all want to belong, don't we? want to have that admiration the way Tom's having it. So where a lot of guys go wrong is they only sell the money thing, they only sell the freedom, like the Lambo thing. Right? You know, like as you get older and you start having kids and somebody gets sick and you start realizing that doesn't, I don't need a new car. I need freedom and a happy family and peace, you know. So it depends on your avatar, right? So we're just selling to your best avatar, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I could tell examples all day long. So anyhow, this, are you guys enjoying this? Is this
Hmm.
okay if I keep going and moving
Yeah,
forward? Like,
definitely
um,
keep going.
yeah, and the reason is if you do these parts, the reason I'm spending so much time on some of this early on stuff is that if you spend the time on these parts, by the way, I was at a mastermind. I was just attending, guest speaker. I was there as a student. So I am one of you, right? By the way, what did I just do? I just did a frame on I did a frame. I'm a student, so you should be a student frame. That's a mastermind. I'm in a mastermind. I have a mentor, so you should have one. If you're not investing in yourself, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You don't see what I'm saying? Um, hey Lou, you guys are gonna like this one. I was talking to a client yesterday, and we're talking about I was talking about increasing his he can get law firms ranked in YouTube very, very quickly, and he's charging 6,500 a month. If you charge 6,500 a month in dentistry, you better be giving birth at the same time because they're going to be like, what are you charging that for? If you go into personal injury, they're used to spending 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand if you can get them cases, right? So what I shared with him, you guys can steal this because I spent 20 minutes explaining to him why he's got to increase his rates to 10,000 bucks a month. And I said to him, listen, dude, if anyone talks about price, you say this: we serve the most elite guys and gals who want to grow rapidly. My biggest disservice to our clients would be to be charging you less because that means I'd have to go out and get less quality team members and less quality experts on our team. Would you prefer that? Because I have other people I'm happy to refer to you if you want something of lower quality. It's not a problem. That's one of the money frames. We layer money frames. You got to layer the money frames because you got to layer all the objections because the brighter future you create for them, if you put it in all five senses and you get it on their future timeline, that's why you start seeding things a day and a half before. It's got to get in the future. Their unconscious has to marinate it, and we have to have time to remove their false belief systems. Okay. The other two are super important. They have to have belief that your path, new path you're doing for them works. Obviously, you guys know how to do that. Social proof, identity, in the room, more and more and more. The other way you do that, if you don't have enough social proof, is you have to just keep taking their false belief systems and keep reworking them to like most people think that I'm going to be successful by running Facebook ads. I'm making this thing up instead of billboards. Or I'll give you one I we used yesterday. The question we get a lot is like, well, do you do exclusive territory marketing? And I say, great question. Everybody asks that. We used to do that, but what we found was that we actually helped less people help more people. And so let me ask a question. So do you see all the billboards on the highway? Yeah, I do. Okay. Do you notice how there's top dog? There's top dog. I'm gonna mute Dan. There's top dog. What else do you see on that? You see 400 other billboards by other personal injury companies. Yeah, I see those, right? Why do you think they all still advertise every single month? Because they work for them. And so I then told them a story. This is a counterintuitive framework, guys. Listen to this. I'm taking a belief system as that would be an objection. I'm reframing it. And I'm saying, I got a quick, funny story for you. We had, when we were doing dental implant licensing, territory exclusive, everyone wanted territory exclusive because they think that's what they need. But what we found was I can't control what the Sun Times does. So, like, if somebody in Orland Park goes with the Sun Times, somebody in Schaumburg can do the Sun Times. And so the same exact ad was ran in the Sun Times this one Sunday. Both clients sent us notes mad at us, right? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? By the end of that month, both clients had more leads than they've ever gotten before. Well, why is it? Because if you go back to old school direct response marketing, one of the tricks the best advertisers would do is they'd put multiple of the same exact ads in the same magazines. Why? Because what they found was if people see it more often, they're more likely to respond. And so just because there was more awareness, there was more people responding. And that's also a framework of like, you think you need bigger budgets. Well, in every industry, this is an issue right now. So you can use it, is that most people think they can't compete because of bigger budgets. Well, the way we run our system, we're actually going to ethically steal all the leads that the big budgets spend traffic on because they're going to bounce there. They're going to do research on YouTube and Google. And that's where we build our know, like, and trust and educate them. So those are all reframes, right? So you can create transformational insight without having a lot of case studies, but you want to get the case studies as quickly as possible. So, okay, so you're with me on that? Now, the first talk here is where we do the seeding. Okay, I've shared a lot of this with you already, but for time's sake, I'm not going to be able to go through all of it today. But what I want to share with you is your core story has to be dialed in to eliminate all the false belief systems that they're going to have tomorrow when you pitch the $15,000, $30,000, $50,000 thing. Okay, it's your core story has to, so they can't come back and be like, well, this is expensive. Well, I already told you, like, you're losing more money by not being a part of it. Like that's already been washed out by your 2 to 3 guys. Now, when you run your accidental sideways testimonials, this is how you do it. You could be totally blunt, like, hey, I want to show you case studies. Or you could be elegant. And so what I like being is elegant in all my languaging, because if I can keep Michael's guard down so he doesn't ever feel like he's being sold, all of those belief systems will be adopted much quicker. So I'll get to a point, look at a slide and I'll be like, the lone wolf dies, the pack survives. And it's going to look like I'm about to start teaching again. And I'm like, you know what? Wait a second. Where's Michael Hodges at? Michael, can you raise your hand? Hey, oh, hey, everybody. So can we get him a microphone? You see what I just did there? They have no idea that I had this orchestrated. They have no idea that I've already talked to Michael. And I said, Michael, can you cover these 3 things about your personal experience? So they're totally true. But my whole goal here is to create edification in the room, destroy belief systems. Okay. And so then he tells his awesome story. Oh, hey, Michael, how much has it been worth to you since then? Okay. So you went from 1 million a year to 10 million a year. Okay, guys, funny things, man. I tell you, I take no credit for it. It's the community, and I can start doing that. And then I go bang, bang, go point, point, go to my next thing. Where's Tom at? Is Tom Collins in the room? Now, Tom, you always got to have one Mormon in the room, right, Tom? So you got
That's
to,
right.
it includes the other people, right? And I go to Tom. I'm like, hey, Tom. All right. And I might make a joke like, you always got to have a guy from Utah. Anyone else here from Utah? Okay, Tom, do you mind standing up, sharing your story? Same exact thing, right? And I keep going, right? And then what I would probably do, like, so in dentistry, I'll tell you what my frameworks were, guys. It was good. This goes back to old school copywriting. I wanted somebody from a big city. I wanted somebody from a small town. I wanted somebody from a suburb. I wanted somebody from a saturated market so that nobody could say, this isn't going to work for me. My business, this doesn't apply to my business. I wanted them all in, right? That objection was wiped out. I wanted a man. I wanted a woman. If I had mixed races in the room, which you mostly do, I wanted somebody who was black. I wanted somebody who's Latino. I wanted to work my room based on it. These are called catch-all frames. Does that make sense? And then, if you really want to become, as you get better and better and better, you can lay it all out by priorities, right? Now, when it comes to specific frames, I'm going to highlight this, and then I'm going to get into I'm going to get into the I'll get into it in a second. This chunk right here, um, we'd have memorized. Okay, so people always ask me about the cost of about mentoring, but fail to ask what the cost is of 7 years of not having the mentor. So do you have personal stories before development, mentoring, mastermind, after? We already talked about this a little bit, but these are the things that even when we put case studies up, anytime I have a guest speaker, okay. So one thing I felt we could have done a better job at the last event is that every person that goes up on stage, when they teach something, they know whose stage it is. It's your stage. Okay. So my sponsors, everybody knows. Hey guys, on day 2, I'm selling my mastermind. Hey guys, please make sure there's edification back to my members if you have clients of ours. Okay. When students teach, they have to know that their job is not just to brag about how they grew their practice. Okay. So let me go through the frameworks that are super, super important. All I need them to realize is that they're one person, one deal, one partner, one transaction, one big case away. Now, what is that worth to them? If I am selling, say, a $30,000 package, right? Can somebody take 30,000? I should have had this prep for you, but it's good for you to do this with me. Take 30,000 or take your number, divide it by 365 days, then divide it again by 24. So we'll do it together.
How much?
Yeah, so how much is 30,000 divided? It just took me a second to get my calculator. By 365 equals $82 a day. Divide that by 24. Our mastermind costs $3.40 an hour. People want to talk about 30 grand. 30 grand is nothing. If you can't figure out a way to make 82 bucks a day. So now Tim Paulson taught me this. Tim Paulson, um, Tim, Tim, Tim Paulson taught me this. He said, now, anytime somebody brings out, and you could actually do this, it takes more time to teach this, but you could have $80 in your pocket. Like me, like when I was selling like $18,000 a year, that's like it becomes less than $20. So now you have $20. Like, is that a $20? Is that an $80 a day idea, guys? Is that an $80 idea? Yeah. Okay, here you go, Tom. Here's 80 bucks. Should I give him 160? Yeah, yeah. Now you have people like boom, boom. They're excited to share their like, hey, what's one takeaway you had from last thing? Your intros and outros of every single session now becomes a $80 a day framework. Hey, who after lunch, everybody, before we get started, I'm going to be bringing up Daniel. Daniel Wagner's going to be our next speaker. Super excited to share with you. Who met anybody that you got an idea or two? Okay, cool. Do you mind sharing that with everybody? Boom, give him the microphone. Uh, who would say that that was an $80 a day idea? Is that really? Okay, cool. Here you go, Daniel. Here's 80 bucks or 85 bucks, whatever it might be. We'll give them more because we give more, right? So that's how you start framing things. Now, what you could have is an assistant or somebody else keeping track of all the $80 deals, and then you recap them at the end of day 1. This is super important. Hey, before I let you guys out to dinner, let's go. We've been keeping track, right? So let me go through. We got 25 $80 a day ideas. What we're going to do tonight, guys, we're going to print this off so it's on the front thing of your thing tomorrow morning. Would you guys like that? Was that exciting? Okay, cool. Now, if you structure your day 1 properly, you should have 3 to 4 of your own members speaking. 15 minutes, 20 minutes. You should have someone like myself speaking because I will do this. I will talk about time collapsing, which is my book, Leapfrog to the Top of the Market, How to Get What You Want Much Faster Than Ever You Want. They think they're watching a keynote, but what I'm doing is for a full hour, I'm sideways selling your mastermind, your software, your coaching club, whatever it is you're bringing in, your consultancy, whatever it might be. Pretty powerful, right? Pretty powerful. What's going to happen I promise you, if you do just a little bit of what I showed you this, what's going to happen is by day one at lunch, people are going to be like, excuse me, um, how do I get in the group that Tom, Michael, and Lou are in? Like, what is that? Yeah, the mastermind. How do I get into it? And once you start seeing people naturally walk into your booth, your back table, and they're saying that kind of stuff, you know you're doing the right stuff. If that's not happening right now, you're doing it wrong. It's not a judgment, it's just a fact. It's like just a pure math fact. If they're not walking back there asking, I want to learn more about that. Can I work with you? How do I give you my credit card? Way before you sell it. And then we elegantly say, hey, Lou, thanks for coming back here. Yeah, so this is great. I got great news. Um, it's our private mastermind. But I'm not going to go fully into it right now because Tom's going to talk about it, or Ed's going to talk about it tomorrow, and you're going to learn more about it. Here's what I want you to do. You see the guys in the yellow badges? Those are our highest level guys in the group. Go ask them what their experience is with, because we don't want to sell you that. We just want you to ask them. Let them tell you about their experience. So that's how the back table handles it. Now, at the end of day one, I'm assuming you already did day one right, right? At the end of day one, this is the first pre-pitch. You ready for it? Hey guys, so many of you have come up asking, and it comes better if it's somebody else doing it, by the way. But like I like talking, whatever. My little camera just heated up, so I'm gonna go to my computer. There you go. Cool. So this is what it looks like. And we're on a 5-minute countdown. Okay, we're gonna have to do part two of this, right? And I have a small little invite for you, but we're gonna have part two of this. You say so many people have been coming up to us asking about joining our XYZ mastermind, our XYZ coaching club, our licensing program, whatever that might be. So I have good news, and then I have a little bit of homework. So the good news is, and this is where you go now. So the XYZ mastermind is this. So currently you lay out where they currently are. You say, hey guys, currently all of you are at our live event. We have two levels, our gold and our platinum, or our platinum and our diamond. Our diamond guys are the ones that are already doing above 5 million, 10 million. If you think that's an area that you want, that will be explained on how to be a part of it tomorrow, along with our platinum. Platinum are like our up and comers. They're the ones that are doing 1 million to 5 million. Okay. So can I ask a favor? I know we did this earlier today, but can everybody in the room who is in diamond raise their hand? And then they raise their hand. And now, if you're not there yet, don't worry about that. But it creates contrast in the room. So if you fit in that category, go find 2 or 3 of those guys tonight. That's your homework, okay? And do the same thing with platinum. Now, here's the deal. We have a platinum and diamond only cocktail hour starting in about 45 minutes, okay? It's reserved only for them. But if you believe that you possibly, we're not going to hold you to it, possibly want to be in a group that makes you better, helps you crush your goals faster, allows you to have the same results that Tom had, that Michael had, and whatever. Okay. If you think that might be you, Lou's in the back of the room. She's got 15 golden tickets for tonight, which means you're allowed to come in as a guest if this is something you think you want to do. Okay. So that's number one. That will create a rush to the back of the room. And we can have 25 back there. It doesn't matter. Like we could do the 15 are out. Okay, cool. Give me your name. Let me do this. Let me see. Let me talk to Ed. We'll get you an extra couple. Okay. The reason why it's important to have something like that is, number one, you just pre-sold the audience. You also got a pulse of the audience. Number three is you just taught them once again to rush to the back of the room. Okay. That's an important element for day two when you sell it. And I'm going to actually do the day two teaching workshop. Today's Friday, probably on Tuesday. But here's the thing. When I do this talk, There's three different ways to wrap this up. They have to go to the back of the room and grab something. Tom, do you know why that is? Do you know why it is? And then I'm going to put you on the spot. Why is it that they have to go to the back of the room and grab something?
First thing that came to mind is it's a physical commitment, right? And it puts them into motion, into action. Is that anywhere near what you were looking for?
Yeah, it it puts them into motion. It trains them unconsciously that it is okay for them to grab their wallets and run to the back of the room. I'll talk about the wallets in 1 second. We need them because on day two, you want them to start jumping up, going like, I got to be in this. I got to be in this. So we want them to have done that twice already. Because if there's no movement, then guess what? There's no like external peer positive peer pressure to join this thing. Does that make sense? And so what I do and what we did with Tim is we did a charity thing. He was like, I have my book. It's absolutely free, except I ask a small donation to go to, and he does this whole talk about saving dogs or something like that. So people are learning to grab their credit cards, run to the back of the room and pay. And that happens before lunch or the first break on day one. Okay. All right. So I got like 5 minutes. So let me do this. Has today been valuable for you guys?
Mhm.
It's pretty good stuff, right? I
Mhm.
mean, not to say that like this is some of my best stuff, but this is some of my best stuff. I mean, this is stuff I hired Tim for, Joel Bauer, James Malinchak, some of the brightest guys of mine, right? Now, I promise two things, right? So I'm gonna uh hold another free workshop so I don't leave you totally hanging, probably Monday or Tuesday of next week. So keep an eye out for that. And that's gonna go into part two of like how to structure day two, because I didn't get into that. I spent more time on the prepping than I thought was possible. Okay. Now, what you're going to see is I'm going to throw in this in the link, but if you go to my small little special offer is this is I'm going to be hosting a live event at the end of July. It's a 2-day live intensive, mastering the art of running your own events to sell out premium priced offers. Okay. Um, what you just experience to make it simple, what you just what you're going to experience is 2 days of what we just went through, except we're actually going to have you walking out of there with the sales pitch that is reviewed by me. I'm going to help you structure it start to finish, and we're going to make sure that your PowerPoints and your pitch is dialed in. That's number one. Number two is that we're going to make sure that you orchestrate the event that's perfectly designed, and you have speakers that set up your event to sell it at the best imaginable possible. You know, guys, if you have this one skill set, it doesn't matter what you're selling. If you have this one skill set, it just dramatically changes your life. And when I say like today, we talked a lot about doing this in person, face to face. I believe that's the gold rush that's going to come back. When I got into this business, coaching clubs were brand new, masterminds were brand new. The excitement that I've seen at the live events I've been to recently, this is the new big thing. Like AI is going to make this kind of stuff be more and more important. With that said, you can apply this to challenges, workshops, virtual webinars, everything like that. So these are going to be just the elite platform selling secrets that you can do virtual or in person. Okay. Now you can read this yourself, so I'm not going to go through too much of it. Here's the deal. It's 5K, 2 days. It'll never be priced this low again. Okay. Because it's the first time I've ran this specific event. Um, it's priced this way. My belief is that after we do the first one, by that time the demand will be where it's at, and this is easily a $7,500 to $10,000 2-day intensive. For the first 15 who jump in, I have a fast mover credit of $2,000. Do you notice I said credit, not a discount? Because you don't discount your services ever. You give credits with timelines and deadlines. That credit will expire when the first 15 uh, sign up. Okay. Now, one of the biggest concerns I would have if I were you is I would ask myself, Ed, but how do I actually fill my events, whether they're virtual or in person? And so, what I want to share with you is if we can dial in your offer, traffic's not the problem at all. And so, at this event, you're going to have three different channels will be covered. Facebook, Instagram, I consider one channel. YouTube organically. Did you know that there's people that I work with that are doing 2 million a year organically to grow their businesses just by posting videos on YouTube? Pretty amazing stuff, right? And then we will definitely cover LinkedIn, and I will cover personally cold email because it's one of the ways that I'm growing one of our niche businesses. So I want to tell you all about that as well. So anyhow, if I don't have a ton of time. If anyone has a question, I'll answer it. But I have a meeting coming up that I just got to be there at. So what I'll do is obviously no pressure. It's going to be in Chicago. It's the last week of um, it's gonna be the last week of July, and I'm gonna give you the exact dates in about 1 second. That is the link. Uh, offerwingman.com/event mastery. Offerwingman.com/event mastery. If you have any questions, this one time I'm actually gonna put my cell here just because I have a feeling that there might be a couple since I'm cutting you guys short, or you can email, text message, guys, no phone calls. If I feel like we need a quick call, I'll jump on a call with you, okay? Just because of the busyness and what's going on. But that's pretty much it. I have time for say two questions. So let me open it up. So is there any questions you may have about anything we covered today? You can ask me anything. It doesn't have to be about the event, it could be about anything else.
Like,
No problem. So going once?
yeah.
Yeah, I got one. I got one.
Yeah, I knew there was. See, once I do the going once, what's
Yeah.
up?
So I'm looking at my personal situation. I have no clients as of today that I can put into a room to get these testimonials in the pitch.
Yeah.
So I don't really have enough initially to put together a 3-day event to pitch a mastermind.
Yeah. So here's where you're this is let me reframe your agreement you've made with yourself. Um, you have your own story.
Right.
That's where you start.
Okay.
Your own personal story is a great story. And,
Mhm.
and then it doesn't matter if it was 20 years ago or yesterday. Now,
Right.
there's nuances, but it doesn't change your story.
Sure.
Like I'm one of 13 kids. I'm going to tell that story my whole life. Right?
Yeah.
So what I would say though, too, brother, is that there's never been an easier time for you to say, here's my signature story. Here's how I help people. This and go through the structure I just shared with all you guys, and then start popping out like on LinkedIn live events, Instagram, YouTube. Just start it, man.
Your live event could just be a half day, 2-3 hours of power workshop.
What am I
That's
doing right, Michael? What am I doing right now?
same thing.
I'm doing a 1 hour
Right.
workshop.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you. I got it now. I got you.
And here's the deal. You throw it, but the other thing is like if you're gonna run an event, give yourself at least 7 to 8 weeks because it gives you time.
Mhm.
And guess what? If people don't sign up, you don't run it. But you're gonna learn stuff.
Right.
And so virtual to live event. But man, what that also tells you guys, honestly, is that the focal point has to be like, what free things can I give away? What downloadable PDFs? What lead generators can I start creating? Like, you know, like if I had a high ticket consulting like that, and I know they're an 8-figure business, I'd get a list on LinkedIn of all the 8-figure businesses and just be like, hey, Bob, I see you're the head of sales. I put together a 21-point checklist to leverage 8-figure sales teams,
Mhm.
right?
Okay.
Hey, I see you're
Mhm.
this. I help pharmacies, and that's why we'll talk about cold email at the event, because in dentistry right now, I'm running just this silly cold email event and or cold email campaign that's getting leads, and I'm like, man, this could be highly. And then you look at there's guys that they all they do is do email, and I'm not talking about DMing guys like cheesy cold spamming. I'm talking about, hey, put a free gift together, boom, do you want it? You can hire somebody for $6 an hour, that can build up a list for you. You could retarget it. You could DM it. I mean, it's a little bit of old school block and tackle,
Yeah.
but if that's what it takes to get to the decision makers, that's what it takes.
Mhm. I'm with you. Thank you.
Yeah,
Ed, I now have a question.
yeah.
Michael,
Thanks,
you
brother.
prompted it. Thank you. Hey, so if I started private consulting after leaving the big company, as you know, 15 years ago, what you're saying is I had to go back to those people and not just say, because I've have testimonials of the success and they're like, oh, Tom's a smart guy. But actually, maybe the better question is the story of the situation those people were in when they needed my services. So the before, like, hey,
Yeah,
what
100,
scenario?
100%. People
Like,
forget.
that's the most powerful thing. And I
Like,
haven't tapped
Tony's
that.
Tony's most famous story is that he had no food and somebody brought him
Yeah.
turkey
Yeah.
on Thanksgiving. That's his story, and it sets up so many context levels. Tony's just like me. I have to have my ability to receive. Like, he's setting a bunch of meta layers unconsciously, which at the
Yeah.
event I'll go over. I have it in my sales letter. Like there is a 3.0 to this game.
Yeah.
Like every
Yeah.
story has multiple layers he's embedding. Like, you need to
Okay.
be able to receive in order to make a decision. You need your pain in your past and your excuses are actually your transformation for the future of impact. Like, that's all the setups of, like,
Okay.
because the excuses a lot of guys have is, I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough, I can't. My dad wasn't worthy. That's why he slammed the door on the guy's face
Right. Right.
you know
Yeah.
so the answer is yeah,
Okay.
like going
Okay.
back in it, like, hey, you're going to meet my friend, JW, because you know who I'm talking about. What you
Yes.
don't know about JW is, before he was JW, he was a floundering guy looking for the right, and this isn't, but that's where he was at. You only see his
Yeah.
success, but I'm
Yeah.
the guy who comes in to help leverage those successes.
Okay.
The other
I,
challenge too is, like, there's a lot of really successful, like with you, Tom, like you guys got to go to your level 10 clients mentally, because it's easier to
Mhm.
solve somebody who's already successful, because they already have a lot of spinning plates, and you are the person relieving them of a spinning plate. It is so much more difficult to make a failure into a success, because you got to clean so much mental garbage out of the failure mentality.
Right.
And you
Right.
go for the guys and gals with money who have a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
You're just creating value, and fill a room with 4 people like that, Michael. It's going to be an amazing event. Like, if you get 2 guys or 2 gals who are just pumped up about growth, they're going to become best friends by the end of the day, and they're going to love you, love you. Thanks, Dwayne. So,
Michael, I don't know what events you run, Michael, but Ed's right. I've done boot camps of 3 to 5 people, and those are the people that sign up with me for years. So Ed, thank you for that.
yeah. So, hey, guys, I got to run. I got an appointment I got to be at. So, Lou, Daniel, Kimberly, I know Dwayne just popped off. Raquel, and then Michael, you guys are amazing. I'm going to do part 2 of this on Tuesday. I will post this to
Perfect.
my socials. So if you don't follow me on YouTube or Facebook, Ed O'Keefe Show on YouTube, I'd love to have you subscribe there. And then if you have questions about the event, you guys can text me. And if you'd like me to cover something specific on Tuesday, text me or email me. You're going to get more like this. Now, obviously, I have a ulterior motive. What's my ulterior motive? I want people to become more successful. I know for a fact that if you're getting value and you take action, you're going to want to be in the live event, because there's really not that many great masterminds for mastermind owners and how to sell stuff from stage. I mean, most people suck at stage selling. So if you could just be a little bit above suckiness, you're going to be great in comparison to everybody else because I don't know. I think the pandemic, people forgot how to do a lot of stuff. So this is your opportunity. So that's it. Matt O'Keefe,
Rock and roll.
offerwingman.com/event mastery. You can learn more information and hope you guys enjoyed today. Have a great
Thanks,
day.
Ed.
All right.